2024 is a make or break year for Triple J, and here's why. Hey everyone, Liam from Solitude here. Welcome back to my channel. Thanks for clicking on this video again. Now I wanted to talk a little bit about Triple J. Again, as you know, I am a big fan of Triple J discussion points and the radio station generally. And hey, I like to just kind of talk about what they do, the music they play, the Australian music that crosses by the station, and that sort of thing too. So if you didn't hear late last year with some of the shuffles that often happen around the end of the year, Triple J let go of some staff members, the big one being Richard Kingsmill, a guy who's been at the station for decades. And love him or hate him, he's done a lot for the station and Australian music generally. Yes, he may not have picked your favorite band that you wanted to have played on the station, but hey, he picked plenty of other great ones to get played over many years too. I guess the thing that concerns a lot of people with this move is the new management system that they're going with, and the people who they've hired kind of come from like a commercial radio background. Will it mean that they lean more into commercial radio stereotypes, which a lot of people do not want to be hearing on Triple J? I don't know, I guess we'll just have to wait and hear. But hey, this year I do turn 30 years old, so I guess I've officially grown out of the age demographic of what Triple J are going for. Now the other big news obviously was the Hottest 100 count, and I haven't spoken about Hottest 100s generally before, but this had to be obviously the most disappointing Hottest 100 that I've heard, and it feels like every year they're just getting more and more disappointing. Obviously the main disappointing thing being Doja Cat winning the count, and look, I'm gonna have to just be honest and say that I just do not like this song at all. It just pains me that a trendy TikTok song is the one that's being voted as number one, and I think this sort of thing is just going to happen more and more. But hey, I know there's probably some people out there who do like this song, and you know, that's just music, I guess. It's a matter of opinions. And I guess the other really big point about this Hottest 100 was that G-Flip just dominated it. G-Flip broke the record for the most songs in a count by one artist, which was previously held by Spacey Jane and Wolfmother. There were 7 G-Flip songs that made this count, including Worst Person Alive, which came in at number 2. G-Flip also got in some rare air company with the amount of times being included in Hottest 100s generally, up here with these artists. Now, this is leading me to where I want to go with this, but again, I think this is kind of emphasizing where the Hottest 100 and Triple J are at generally. Overall, I'd have to say this G-Flip album that came out this year was pretty good. But is G-Flip's music really worthy of breaking this record to have 7 songs in a Hottest 100 and to have 19 and to be up there with the likes of Kanye West, Tame Impala, Powderfinger, Foo Fighters? I'm sorry, but no. This last album was a lot better from G-Flip, I'll admit. And I'll be the first person to put my hand up and say, I was a critic of G-Flips for many years. I still remember the first time I saw the post Triple J made about G-Flip saying, this was the best new thing that you just had to hear. Click on G-Flip's Unearthed page and you need to listen to this new song about you. I clicked on it and I listened, and I thought that that was just really boring, generic music that did not take a lot of creativity and didn't have a lot of artistic endeavor into it. I even recall hearing the synth sounds that start straight away and thinking, I feel like I've used those presets myself when I've dabbled in Logic before, and it just sounded really amateur. And I know I sound kind of snobby when I'm saying this, but I'm pretty sure a lot of other people had the same feeling when they heard About You, and a lot of negativity grew from there about G-Flip. I guess there was just a lot of frustration from the kind of like music nerd side of Australian music fans, with the likes of Tones and I and G-Flip getting so much praise on Triple J. Their music both just sounded really generic and quite average, and was just getting overpumped in a lot of people's opinions. But hey, I'll come back to the fact that G-Flip really improved, and this last album that G put out was actually a lot better and shows that there's been a lot of artistic improvement there. The stat that really stood out to me this year that Triple J exposed was the discrepancy of people voting in genders. Now, before I get into the whole gender thing, I just want to point out that, look, I am totally aware that gender is a very hot topic now, and I'm going to tread extremely lightly with things I'm saying, but I'm also just going to point out that I'm speaking in general, and I'm going to be making a lot of generalizations here. So it's not true for all men or all women when I say some of these things. But it was super interesting to me to see that more than 60% of the voters in this last Hottest 100 count were female. More than 60%, almost 2/3. I think a lot of male music fans in Australia have just been really put off by Triple J, and they're just getting pushed away from the station generally. I've made a few videos about Triple J over the last couple of years of me doing this channel, and I've spoken a little bit about how I just kind of feel like they're leaning more towards the kind of good vibes music fan direction as opposed to the music nerd direction. And look, I probably consider myself to be more in the music nerd direction, and look, the good vibe direction, if you want to be part of that too, that's fine. I'm not saying that's bad to be in the good vibe sort of music camp, but it's just that Triple J are choosing that direction more, and that's just what they're gonna have to go with. And I think with the good vibe direction, that's attracting more of a female crowd. I think generally speaking, the music nerd type, like myself, is usually a little bit more male orientated. I think men are kind of more into music that's got guitars, drums, distortion, strong vocals, things like that. I think girls are kind of a little bit more into kind of party music and, you know, good vibes, and, you know, that's fine. There's no issue with that, but that's just what Triple J are playing more, and I think they're attracting that crowd more. So essentially Triple J's fan base right now kind of looks like this, as opposed to 15, 20 years ago, it looked a lot more like this. And you'd probably find if they did a survey for the 2003 count that maybe 65% of the voters were male then. So it's really kind of flipped a lot, and that's just, I guess, how it is. But hey, let me just finish up on my thoughts on Triple J. Look, I still really appreciate everything they do. I still try and tune in every now and then when I can. And I'm a huge Australian music fan, and I love to find new Australian music. So there's a place for me there still, I think, and I'll never completely shut them out. But ultimately, what I'd have to say about Triple J is, the thing that I've realized, I think now, is that all they are is a cherry on top of what you can become in Australia. And I think I realized that this year when I went to see a local Perth band called Rah Rah Viper live. Now, Rah Rah Viper are a band who I've spoken about a little bit on my channel here, but they don't really get played on Triple J at all. They've got a pretty big local following, and if you go on their Spotify page, you'll see that some of their songs are getting streamed quite a lot. But it was the first time I've actually seen them live, and I was shocked to see that there were probably hundreds of people there singing the words to their songs who knew all of them. And it made me think, wow, this band's not getting played on Triple J at all, but people know their songs. They have die-hard fans. And where has that come from? Well, it's not come from Triple J, it's come from streaming. And streaming really is the place to be now. It's not necessary to get on Triple J to get a crowd following you. But hey, if you do get played on Triple J, it really does put a cherry on top. You might get invited in for like a version. You might attract more fans over east if you're from Perth. You might get a little bit more of an international following too. If you want that cherry on top, you still really want to get played on Triple J, that's for sure. But hey, you don't really need it. You can still get millions of plays on Spotify without Triple J attention at all. So hey, that's me signing off. Thanks for watching this video. If you liked it, please subscribe. See ya.